Regular Expressions 101, as mentioned by one significant developer, as an exhilarating experience. So we're excited to bring this to you. Got to go quick here. What are regular expressions? Okay, regular expressions are regex, or some people pronounce it regex. They're just patterns that are used to match character combinations. So think of a sort of beefier search and replace. Regular expressions are supported by pretty much all modern programming languages, but the syntax varies. So you'll want to check your own language that you're used to using of how you make matches and deal with finding and replacing text in the particular language for that syntax. And regular expressions are very powerful, but they have some pretty confusing syntax that we'll get into. But once you have a good handle on how they work, it can be a really powerful tool in your tool belt. So what things can you do with regular expressions? Some things you can validate input, validate email addresses, phone numbers, zip codes, any kind of text that you want to validate in the input that you get from a website or from any kind of user input. You can use regular expression to validate that input. You can search and extract data from logs or files. For example, you could find all the error messages in a log and extract that content for someone to review. And you can quickly clean and transform data. This is something that I use a fair amount of time. Search and replace complex JSON data with ease with regular expressions. My opinion, they're vital, and in my, from my perspective, an expected tool in any developer's toolbox. So I would think that with any customer that we have, with any project we're working on, that our developers should have a fairly basic, at least, knowledge in regular expressions. And even if you're not a developer, they can be useful in manipulating data that you might use for tests or any other JSON or like data that you work with. Let's go over some basic syntax. So when you think of regular expression, think of these things down the left-hand side as the characters you can use when building up a regular expression. And I'll go over each of these pretty quickly, but I'll make my presentation available to everyone at the end if they want to go back through it. So a single dot just matches any character. So if I had an example here of a capital J, a lowercase o, and then two dots, it's going to match all those things on the right because they all start with uppercase J and a lowercase o, and then two more characters. If you use a caret, you're basically saying, hey, I want to begin my string with this. So a caret with an if would match the if in if I were a rich man. Similarly, a dollar sign you'd match at the end, starting to the end of a string. So the boy with a dollar sign here will only match that last boy. It just kind of works backwards. You use square brackets to do character sets. So anything you put within the square brackets will match. So a 0 with a dash and a 9 means any digits, 0 through 9. You can see what matches there. A pipe is used for an or. So if you had ice with a lowercase I or ice with an uppercase I, you'd match on both of those things, but you would not match on the all uppercase ICE. A plus following a character means one or more of that character. So ME with a plus means an M followed by one or more E's. So you can see that the meet and the me in the middle, what gets matched there. Similarly, an asterisk is 0 or more. So now you see that there's the me in meet, there's the me in me, and then also the M in middle will match because an M followed by 0 or more E's, that matches on the middle. Similarly, with a question mark, it matches on 0 or 1 of the preceding character. So again, same example, you get the me's and the M at the end. And then if you want to do the exact number of times, you can use the squiggly braces, and the 3 E's there are matched just in the M-E-E-E. Continuing, you also have these things called character classes. Character classes is the shortcut to various things that will get used over and over again. So \W will match any word character. And now that we know that the square brackets you can add to different characters, you can see that generally \W is going to be A to Z, inclusive of capital and lowercase letters, any digit, and an underscore character. So it kind of matches almost everything in that let's meet at the online party sentence. Similarly, the digit character class will match any 0 through 9 digits. So again, I'm saying I want to get one or more digits there. And so both the 3 and the 99 match. There's a \S, which is a space character. So that'll match any kind of white space, a tab, a new line character, and that backslash W star, so 0 or more word characters plus a space plus the word yours will match the is yours in the world is yours. You can use a caret within a square brackets to negate the actual character set. So by negating all those vowels, I'll match on every consonant. So we build up all these different characters we can do, and we can make some pretty complex and interesting strings. So let's talk about something called capture groups. With capture groups, what those do is you put those in regular old parentheses, and they save off matches for extraction or replacement. They're indexed from 1 going up, and the 0 if the group is the full match. So let's do an example to make it clear. So the regular expression I've created is, and regular expressions, usually when you identify them, you start them with this / and you end them with the / with anything at the end being toggles or switches. In this case, a G means global. So I want to find the word Tito, and then I want to capture a \W, so that's a word character or a space. Interesting here, I put a space 1 or more times. So anything that starts with Tito and has word characters or a space 1 or more times. So now I have some text. Tito is a great developer. Tito is a wonderful human being. Both of these match the entire regular expression, but the blue area is what gets captured. So if I then want to replace it, my replacement string is Stephen $1. This is called the back reference. It references the first capture group. There's only one real capture group here. So when I replace this entire string with this string, it takes Stephen and it adds the capture group data. Is a great developer, is a wonderful human being. Okay, that's just an example of capture groups, how you might use them. So let's talk about some tools. Your editor is going to have built-in support pretty much regardless of any editor you use. You just got to figure out how to turn it on. I have a screenshot here of Visual Studio Code. You can see in my example here, here's the regular expression search toggle. You turn that on, and now you can put regular expressions here. Here I'm trying to take some JSON, and I've got a customer ID attribute where the customer IDs are all with a capital C followed by a bunch of digits. And what I want to do is I want to replace anything I see there with a new scheme for my customer ID with cust instead of C. So my replacement is just customer ID and then cust with my back reference. Here's the capture group, that's /D with a plus. And so VS Code is nice. It gives you a little preview of your search and replace results. So it's replacing this C001, cust 001. This is better than just looking for everything that starts with C and has some numbers after it. That might be in some other attribute that's not even the customer ID. So this helps to really focus in on what you want to search and replace. In addition, your database is going to have built-in support. For example, in Postgres, it uses the tilde for case-sensitive regular expression matches, the tilde asterisk for case-insensitive, and uses a not modifier. This example here will go to the customer database. It'll find any zip codes that don't match this string where I start, and the caret at the beginning says start with this, the $ at the end means ends with this, and I have 5 digits, so it'll find all the customers that don't have US formatted zip codes, at least with 5 digits. So that's your database will help you with regular expressions also. My personal favorite for testing and figuring out what regular expressions to use is called regexer. This is just a sort of screenshot of what it looks like. It's got some helpful references and cheat sheets over here on the left. It's got a nice color-coded expression area. You can put in whatever sample text you want. So this was the example I used before, and it shows the full matches. And then at the bottom, you can actually do several things like explain, where it'll actually break down the regular expression into what it's matching. And you can even have some replacement text with your back reference and see the results. So this is basically what I had done on a couple of slides ago. Okay. So final thoughts. Here's an email address regular expression I grabbed. Here's a website URL regular expression I grabbed. There are going to be things in here you're not going to understand from what I just told you. Things like the \B at the beginning and end, or the $:colon here. But generally, hopefully, now that we've looked at this, this looks less like Greek and more like what you could kind of try to work your way through in understanding what it's doing. That was the goal. The goal was to give you a brief introduction. Of course, with anything now in coding, AI can make things much easier. You can just ask it for a regular expression to solve a problem. But our typical disclaimers apply. Make sure you understand what it's giving you back. Don't blindly use anything. Test it and sort of don't trust. You really want to test what you're getting from any kind of coding assistant or AI tool. Regexes are very testable. In other words, you can quickly write and whip up a ton of unit tests for regular expressions that you write, and you really should. And here, AI can help with this too. Here's my regular expression. Can you give me 50 things that will actually test it? Some that pass, some that fail, some that match, some that don't match. Once you're comfortable, it's a very valuable tool, and you'll find yourself using it and finding uses for it on a day-to-day basis. That's my quick talk about regular expressions. Happy to talk more with anybody that wants to know more. It's one of my favorite things in development is using regular expressions. Thanks.